Hey, welcome back to the improvement channel. Today we've got all this cleared out with the exception of that. That's a bunch of heavy tile. Can kind of leave that put. We're going to go ahead and frame out for the bathrooms. I've got the Perkins brothers coming today to help me out, and we're going to knock that out and get all this framed and kind of do what you saw in the previous video, get all the walls up. So let's get started. So I've got a little different video for you guys today. I think a lot of you know that I've moved. If you've been watching my videos, I put up a basketball goal. I really didn't go into it. Here I'm going to go into everything, get you all caught up on what I've been into. Here are the Perkins brothers. Not actually, these guys aren't even brothers. They're some really good friends of mine though. You got Rusty getting geared up there on the right, and Les getting ready to supervise there on the left. And that's going to kind of be my main job today as well. Rusty is doing some layout work here. He's getting some measurements, and he is very good at framing. He is a framing supervisor slash business owner, and as far as framing and stuff goes, he's very comfortable with it, knows what he's doing, lays things out very quickly. So that's kind of what we're doing here in this soon-to-be bathroom area. You can see I've got a little bit of the rough out done, enough for us to go ahead and start doing the framing and going on from there. So to tell you and get you caught up a little bit about what's been going on with me, we moved back in May 1st of 2022, and one of the main reasons we moved is the shop. Another reason we moved was because this place had a swimming pool, and it was a place we were looking for that wasn't too big of a house, so it was still, somewhat affordable. So the first thing we did before we moved in was had this place spray foamed. It did not have any real insulation on the side. It had some kind of radiant barrier bubble wrap type insulation that really wasn't gonna do a whole lot. So that got all torn out, and we put an inch of closed cell insulation in, and it does surprisingly well. It really keeps all of the wind and a lot of the cold and hot out. Put in a couple of mini splits, and that can take care of it in the hottest 100-degree days. Since we bought it in May, we've had those, and we've had some really cold days. A lot of times, I don't come out on the really cold days. I might just stay in the house, and I don't keep it heated year-round. I'll just heat it up a little bit before I come out in the winter. So here we're having to remove a little bit of this closed cell where we're trying to frame in between these 4x6s. Every 10 feet, there's a 4x6 that holds up a truss, and then there's a hanger system between the trusses that holds up the metal, whether it be on the side, the walls there with 2x6s, or up above overhead with 2x6s and joist hangers. But what I soon figured out was there's not going to be a good way to hang tools on these walls due to the closed cell insulation. So I personally framed out the walls on the other side over a long weekend and got that done, and Rusty and Les was nice enough to come out and help me knock all this out in one day, which is just super nice to have some help. And yeah, if you know the Perkins brothers, these guys are not the Perkins brothers, but if you don't know who they are, you ought to check them out. They're a pretty big deal on YouTube, and some really cool dudes. That was my attempt, probably a poor one, at kind of making a joke. So here we are framing up this wall that there's going to need to be a window in, and we do not do that, so we'll have to come back, tear some stuff out, do it again. But, kind of back to what's going on here is as far as, this shop and everything. You guys like the Dr. Pepper?
I'm good. I brought water with me.
Okay. Would you like a water, Rusty?
Huh?
Dr. Pepper's better?
Yeah.
I've got it in a
I'll
cup.
trace it with the water.
You can, okay. You want a glass with some ice for the Dr. Pepper, or just a cold can good?
Coke cans. I want to take 2 drinks and
Did you really not forget about the window, or kind of forget about it?
I forgot about it. No camera on me. No, I'm gonna just pull two of those studs out.
Yeah.
Be easier anyways, cause
We'll see.
laser up, then I can mark it.
Okay.
Versus you lay down here, by the time you get up there, it may,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying?
Then you got the laser.
Yeah.
So Rusty decided it would be easier just to go ahead and leave it as is, sort of, maybe pull out a couple of studs, and then we would mark it up with the laser to go ahead and get the correct location for the window. And actually that did work pretty well. So the plan is to go ahead and get all of these walls put up on 16-inch centers, and then I'm going to do as I did with the other walls and put up old fence pickets. So you may wonder, hey, how can I get those fence pickets? You know, where do you buy them or whatever? I'm sure there's some places you can buy them. You see that large stack over there to the right. I caught somebody driving down the road with some new fence material and took a shot and followed them. Luckily, they just went a couple miles past my house. Met the owner and asked him, said, hey, you know, what are you going to do with the old fence panels? We got a place we take them to toss them. It's like, well, you know, here's where I live. It's just around the corner from here. Would you mind dropping them off at my place? And he's like, sure. We'll drop them off tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. I was like, okay, that'll be perfect. And that's what they did. Later found out, after getting a relationship with the guy, getting to know him a little better, that they actually have to pay $50 to go dispose of them. So, you know, he was more than happy to drop those off at my house. So if you're looking for that kind of thing, you can probably do the same thing I did. It's a little bit of work, but nothing like tearing apart pallets. They come apart a lot easier. Oftentimes, they're not in the best of shape. So, you know, you kind of check it out and see, you know, what's going on, how rotten they are. But typically they're just rotten around the bottom, you know, 6 inches. So you can cut, you know, 6 inches off with your miter saw. You're good to go. The great thing about it is, if you think about it, most of the time you've got, you know, the color of your fence that you've stained or whatever on one side, and then oftentimes behind you have a neighbor, and beside you obviously you'll have a different neighbor on each side. And sometimes behind you, you may have two different neighbors. Just depends on how the yards break on the, you know, on your back side of your house, if you live in suburbia. Anyway, you can have 5 different colors of fence pretty easy. You got your color of fence, your back neighbor's color of fence, your other back neighbor's color of fence, your left neighbor and your right neighbor's color of fence. All are typically going to be a little different. So as you can see on the walls, I got several different colors. And occasionally you'll see a black or a red one. And if you recall the headboard video I did, I actually planed some of those down, and I used and stained them those colors. So you'll see a couple of those peppered in there, and I think that looks really good, and would recommend doing it. It's pretty easy if you have a planer and, you know, rubber glove and some stain. Your entrance, Ozzy.
Yeah.
YouTube premiere, On Demand Plumbing. There he goes.
That's good, huh?
Anything to say, Ozzy?
I mean, the inside is done?
Great game.
Ozzy, my plumber, we've been working together for probably at least 3 years. Awesome dude, a man of few words, knows what he's doing, and is an awesome dude. If you're over in especially if you're in the East, South Dallas, Forney area, South Dallas or East of Dallas, Mesquite, Ozzy's pretty awesome. The name of his company is On Demand Plumbing. Check him out. So here, I think we are framing up, we're framing up the wall to the bathroom, which that sure don't look tall enough here, but I guess it is. These walls are 9 feet tall, so that's kind of nice in the shop because I can move longer material around, and if I move it in between the trusses, it's even taller. I think it's about 14 feet to the peak. So, yep, sure enough, that's where that's going. And if you look through there, once you're in that room, well, we've passed that now, but there's going to be a place to go outside, and that's going to be for people that want to use the restroom while they're out at the pool without having to go into the house. So I think that's going to be real handy. So Les and Rusty are gone. Thank them for their help. I sure appreciate it. It's another day here, and I am back to putting fence panels up. I'm adding here the welding outlet, and I wanted to just go ahead and set that at about the height of the panel to keep from having to cut around as much. That's me going around the electrical box there. Put the cover back on. Boom, boom, boom. On to the next. As you can see, now is a wonderful time to hit that like and subscribe button. If you've made it this far, it's greatly appreciated. Be sure and look for future videos coming out. I've got a video I've already done that's in edit for the barn door build. I'm going to build a barn door from some of these scrap fence panels, some scrap OSB that I have laying around. Everything on that barn door build is scrap except for the handle kit and the barn door hardware kit. Everything else, I just used some stuff that's been laying around, and it turned out really well. And then there's some really cool barn doors for the house that I didn't buy as barn doors. So if you don't know, barn doors are larger than regular doors because they don't fit inside, they fit over. So if you think about it, if you've got a 28-inch wide door, yes, you can order a 32-inch wide door that'll cover it, but it won't cover it height-wise. It needs to be a few inches taller. So I'll show you on that video how to solve that problem, because one of my openings was only 24 inches. One was larger, 36, so I had to make it wider and taller, and one I just had to make taller. So make sure and tune in for that. Thanks guys, and we'll see you on the next one.